Welcome to beautiful sunny Singapore, where you can buy fresh mango for 30 cents a piece. Look at that beautiful piece of mango. So continuing on the series that I've been doing on prognosis and where to find information on prognosis for the type and stage of cancer you have. I'm going to talk about 4 other ideas. These ideas are, though, not just about prognosis really, although that's what I'll be talking about. You can find any information at all from these sources I'm going to bring up. You want to find the latest treatment options, you want to find clinical trials, past and present, like historically, what kind of clinical trials have been carried out or what kind of clinical trials are currently available. You can often find this kind of information in 2 or 3 of these different 4 sources I'm going to mention. You want to find prevention information, and so on and so forth. You can just find whatever it is you want. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Cancer Information Service of the National Cancer Institute. I'm putting their number up on the screen here. It's 800-4-CANCER or 422-6237. And when you call there, it's free of charge. It's meant to be mostly for patients and family members, although occasionally health professionals will call in there too, looking for clinical trial information. The National Cancer Institute is part of the National Institutes of Health. It's the largest part. And the NCI, National Cancer Institute, is the world's largest research organization on cancer. And in 1972, when President Nixon passed the War on Cancer Act, part of that legislation was it's not enough just to do research. We also have to get the information out there. We need a service that will provide information to the public so they can find out about what's going on in the world of cancer, in particular clinical trials. And so that's what the Cancer Information Service does at that number I just gave you. When you call there, you'll be able to talk directly to a cancer information specialist. And they are people who are health educators specifically in the field of cancer. So they use National Cancer Institute materials to research any question you could possibly think of. What are the latest clinical trials for stage 2 colon cancer? They can send them to you. What are the typical symptoms of non-small cell lung cancer? They can look those up for you. Just anything you can imagine. A couple of times when I was working there, I had people ask me, who is the patron saint of cancer? And I'll drop that little tidbit at the end of this video so you too can know who the patron saint of cancer is. So that's the Cancer Information Service. One of the best things about the service is you call up and you talk to a live human being directly, and you ask your questions, and they get an idea of what's going on in your life and your cancer experience, where you are, and they answer your questions tailored to your particular situation. So they're a fabulous government service. People sometimes wonder where our tax dollars are going to. Well, one place they're going to is the Cancer Information Service, and it's money well spent. And if you call them, you'll agree with what I just said. The second place where you can get information is a medical textbook called, most people call it DaVita, but the actual title is Cancer, Principles and Practice of Oncology by Vincent DaVita et al. Et al. Means and other authors. This is often called, as I said, DaVita, but many people call it the Cancer Bible because it's 2,000 pages of nothing but cancer. And if you dropped the book on your foot, you'd break some bones for sure. The thing is huge. Now, where can you go see this book? Well, you can go to a medical library. You can look it up, do a Google search, go to Google Maps even and type in medical library. Of course, medical libraries are typically only found in large urban centers, so if you're in San Francisco or New York City, you'll probably be able to find one. Might be more difficult in smaller places. But I do see that there is one here in Singapore. You can go in there or call them first and say, hey, do you have Principles and Practice of Oncology by DaVita? Or actually, the title is Cancer, Principles and Practices of Oncology. And that's DEVITA. I'm putting some information up on the screen so you can more easily find it. Now, it's been through 11 editions at this point, I believe. But the older editions are fine too. I mean, it's not the most current information, but you'll find a tremendous amount of information in that massive textbook. You can actually buy the book for about $100. I was searching around on Amazon, and it is, available to purchase. I don't know why you would really want to purchase it, but it certainly would be an easy way to get a tremendous amount of information on whatever cancer you're dealing with, and in fact all cancers that you might be dealing with, that anyone might deal with. So if it's worth it to you to blow $100 to have a huge book, doorstop, which essentially it will be after you've read all the information that you need, then go ahead and buy it. You can also rent it for about $50. So then you could rent it, and you could, once you get it, you could copy the pages you needed and then send it back. So that's an option. But of course, hopefully you'll be able to find it in your local medical library. And it has information not just on prognosis, but it has a wealth of information on all the previous studies that have been done on your particular type and stage of cancer, prevention, risk factors, prognostic indicators, the latest new treatments that might be coming up, and whatever else you can possibly think of for cancer. So that's an interesting resource. Final comment on that, DaVita, the Cancer Bible. You can call the Cancer Information Service, as I mentioned earlier, and you can ask them to copy sections, relevant sections, out of DaVita and simply mail them to you. And what is the total cost to you? Zero. It's your tax dollars at work. They will send you whatever information they have, including, pamphlets from the National Cancer Institute, PDQ statements, which are latest information from the National Cancer Institute, which you can also see online, but they would be happy to send that to you also, if you prefer to read a hard copy. So that's another thing you can do to get information from DaVita. And the fourth thing is the massive medical database from the National Library of Medicine, started way back in something like 1876 and computerized in the early 70s, I think 1971. There are literally millions and millions of citations in there, meaning medical journal articles. And you can go in and search, and I'll be showing you some things on screen. You can do, for instance, stage 2 colon cancer prognosis and see what articles come up. If you add the keyword meta-analysis in the search box, or simply meta, that will then be a study of studies. So that's one place you could go to and find them talking about all the many studies that have been done. Maybe not all of them, but many significant studies that have been done covering whatever the issue is that you're looking at. So it's a very easy way to get a tremendous amount of information about the history of patients who have cancers similar to yours. How do you find it? Well, I'm putting the web address up there. It's www.pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov. You go there and there's a search box, and you just start playing. You just start looking. Warning, there's about 20 or 30 million entries in this database. Many people search for medical information on the World Wide Web, meaning they just do a general internet search. And of course, a lot of the stuff you get is just crap. First of all, it doesn't apply to you, or it's very suspect. You wonder, where is this information coming from? Can I trust it? Well, the information in PubMed is directly from medical journal articles written over the last 100 years or more. And of course, these are peer-reviewed journals typically, otherwise they wouldn't be in PubMed. These are journals that are widely respected in the medical field, and they cover everything, by the way. So if you have an eye problem, maybe conjunctivitis, nothing to do with cancer, you can look it up there. If you're wondering about any kind of health or medical issue, or also if you're wondering about biochemistry, you can look up articles on that database. But today we're focusing on prognosis, so simply go there, type in your type of cancer, non-small cell lung cancer, stage 2, and prognosis. And then maybe after that, looking through a few articles, type in the same thing and add meta or meta-analysis, and you'll get a tremendous amount of information. And then you can, as always, bring it in and discuss it with your oncologist. You know, I really want to warn you and caution you not to try to self-prognosticate about yourself. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to do an estimate of prognosis. Your doctor has all your details, some of which you may not be aware of. You may have some prognostic indicators that are good, some are bad, and those all weigh into giving you an accurate prognosis. So while you're reading all this information, let's remember that you and we're not doctors, and you really need to have the oncologist assess that information. But print it out, maybe, bring it in, stick it in his face and say, hey, what do you think about this prognosis information? Anyway, I hope that was helpful. 4 different ways you can get additional information on prognosis and pretty much anything else you want to know about cancer. Or, in fact, in the case of PubMed, about things that have nothing to do with cancer, from very, very reliable sources. Thank you for watching.